I don't feel like I have steady ground of who I am.
Look at the things you care about and find out what it is. And sometimes you have to give it up. So I've left 2 religions. I'm Gregory George Gibbs, a resident minister at the Pasadena Buddhist Temple, part of Nihonganji, a Buddhist tradition that is 800 years old.
I'm Father Alexei. I'm a Greek Catholic priest. I'm the ecumenical and interreligious officer for the Roman Catholic Archdiocese of Los Angeles, and I'm a pastor.
I am Narayan. I am a disciple of Paramahansa Yogananda. I am a yogi, and I am a teacher of Kriya Yoga. Yesterday, as I was lying awake at night, I realized that I was really a shitty kid. I had no backbone, lied, cheated, and had very little regard for people. I hate this about myself. How do I become less selfish? I think that's one of the great challenges that we all face is self-absorption. One way out of that kind of feeling of self-hatred, serve other people. Find someone or something that you can give to expand your sense of self-identity.
The fact you're asking the question means you're already working out of it. The key is to discover that you love people. Find out who you love. And out of that love comes the opposite of selfishness, caring for others.
The Bible tells us that we were created in the image and likeness of God. The great challenge is to find that image and likeness of God in people. And sometimes it's hidden, but it has to be surfaced. And that's your responsibility to try to surface that aspect of God in the other individuals.
I have a job that pays decent money, but it all feels too empty for me. I studied hard to get a job, and now, though I can afford some nice things, I want to find my true passion or purpose. Can someone please guide me with this? Yeah, I really resonate with that.
You're not alone. Okay?
That fathomless joy that we're looking for in all those outward experiences can be found within ourselves. This is where the sacred science and art of meditation can be incredibly powerful. If you can find it within, then you may even come back to your job with a new sense, a new perspective that will bring it a sense of purpose and life and energy and joy.
You have to find something that you're running towards, not from, in order to make a real difference in your life. Maybe you're not quite ready to make that major decision yet, and that might mean staying with the present job. I stayed with mine for 15 years. Priesthood for me is a second career. I was actually a funeral director. Although I was making lots of money, I didn't feel fully satisfied. I always felt that I was being called to be a priest, and I just kept putting it off. Didn't come to grips with a real self, if you will. I applied, and I was accepted, and I had to make that transition within 1 month. But I'm very thankful I did it, because it's made all the difference in my life. But another way of energizing your search for what it is that you think you really wish to be would be prayer. However you define that, making some connection in whatever form that might be with the divine.
I also, second career, I became ordained when I was 42, I believe. I got fired from a variety of jobs. My usual way of leaving an employment is to get fired. And I discovered I could study for this. You know, you could train for the ministry in Buddhism just like you do in other religions. But some of us find our purpose in our work, and some of us find it in our avocation. It doesn't matter too much which. But what we can't tell you is what you care about. And that's what you have to find out. Obviously, we care about people. And when you look at the people you care about and ask yourself, what do you admire in them? That will help you to understand what you care about.
Yeah, you don't have to believe in anything. I think what Sensei Greg was sharing was beautiful, that just find out what you like, what brings you a sense of joy, of happiness, and just follow that trail of inspiration. I don't feel like I have steady ground of who I am. How do you build a strong relationship with yourself and not be afraid to stand your ground and trust in yourself? It's the age-old question, who am I? And to know who we are, we have to take that time to inwardly reflect, but it's not a question that can be answered intellectually. Paramahansa Yogananda used to say that when this I shall die, then shall I know who am I.
I would point you in just the opposite direction. Instead of worrying about your relationship to yourself, relationship with other persons, and look at the things you care about and find out what it is. And sometimes you have to give it up. So I've left two religions. I left behind Roman Catholicism, and I left behind Aurobindo Gosei's integral yoga. I don't know who I am except how I discover that through my spiritual commitments and through my relationships to others.
From a Catholic point of view, there would be similarities. Our challenge would be to discover how Christ is living in us, how are we interacting with Christ within us, and then to be in relationship with others in a Christ-like way.
I think we're all saying the same thing in slightly different ways. The root of the suffering that we're talking about here is absorption in the small self or our ego, and the way out of that is a remembrance of our greater self. That's
I like
what I'm
that.
picking up.
I think that without finding that reality itself, what's behind reality and or reality itself is sacred, is holy, is good, I think people are lost. There are tens of thousands of spiritual traditions, and I hope everyone will find something that makes them realize there is a sacred, there is holiness, there is goodness, and I do have an obligation to respond to it.
I think it's important to remember and to discuss and to think about the self not in isolation, but yes, I have a self, but you have a self, and you have a self, and everyone has a self. And it's how we interact, all these selves, if you will. We can have the differences in religious traditions, differences in religious approaches, but I agree, I think basically we're saying much the same thing. Maybe different approaches to the same reality. Today was a wonderful experience. I'm a great believer in interreligious learning.
The important thing in religious dialogue is that we're all the same and we're all different. We got to let people be different. If you have to let people be just like you in order to accept them, it's no good.
Each one of us is on a journey, and we're all going to find our way in our own way.
Hey guys, Jason here. Thank you so much for watching another video. We hope you enjoyed it. Again, we make content that's all about humans and about radical empathy, and we hope that this just brings value to you guys in your life. Let us know in the comments below what your thoughts were, and if there was anything that really resonated with you. As always, we'd love to have you subscribe, click here to watch more videos, and we will see you guys next time.